In our first video of this great new HO scale diesel, we covered the detail level, running attributes, and overall appearance. Here, we explore ways to adapt the appearance to some of the detail differences over their years of service. Some of the techniques might apply to any diesel model. Notice the out-of-the-box look of the front and back radiator shutters. They don't have the completion of the black chevron stripes on the louvers. This photo view shows the look I recall in the 1950s and 60s. This view shows a later version devoid of any black stripes, and if you want to add the louver stripes, it's challenging to complete the stripes since they are on a series of angled louvers. However, you can complete the chevron stripes with a fairly easy method we will see in a bit. This view also provides a good view of the canvas sunshades over the side windows. We'll add those in this video too. This is the final look we wanted. All the changes involve using black India ink, a bit of wire, and paper to produce the details and highlights that really bring the desired look. Here's the before and after comparison. I used India ink that I bought at a nearby Michael's art store. This material has a lot of useful applications in model building. It can be thinned out with 91% alcohol when needed. Small brushes were also bought in an affordable variety 8-pack at Michael's art store. The full-strength India ink was dropped into a trio of the air horn trumpet bells to create an illusion of depth. The top of the dual exhaust stacks have a recessed horseshoe pattern that was darkened to look like sooty deposits. On the non-door sides of the cab are vents that become more noticeable with the application of a little black ink. The hinged headlight doors were painted black on some of the units, so I carefully applied slightly thinned ink to those rims. I was careful to keep it off the headlight lenses. I had to use a cotton applicator to wipe off one. Here's a view of how the vent has shadow details in the high noon sun. The model provides a bag of detail parts. There appears to be a pair of re-railers that need painting. They also fashioned a pair of cab shades from 7/1000 inch thick painted metal. But I wanted that rough white canvas look. Here's a great view of the canvas shades on a pristine unit at the WP's Sacramento facility. Using a new small brush with no ragged hairs, I stippled one stripe at a time onto the louvered surface with small little jabs. It took about 15 minutes for each radiator, taking your time to allow for the ink to attach itself a bit and prevent runs or drips. I used full-strength ink here. Any mistakes can be removed with a cotton swab with a bit of alcohol on the tip. I found swabs with tight, pointed cotton tips at a dollar store, and they're perfect for situations like that. Next are the canvas cab shades. First, a pair of holes are drilled over the cab windows with a number 74 drill bit. I use a Micromark cable drive with a foot pedal control and a speed control allowing slow speeds so the bit won't melt plastic. It has very little torque reaction when the foot pedal switch is used. I use this for nearly all drilling applications. It's affordable and very versatile. Here's a sample of a cab shade material cut and folded into a desired shape. The drilled holes are for a support rod made of phosphor bronze, 15/1000 inch thick diameter from Tichy Train Group. The simulated canvas is made from very thin paper I found with an aged beige colored look. The paper is only around 3/1000 of an inch thick. I cut it into a 5-inch long by a 0.3-inch wide strip folded in half. By the way, the Sacramento Northern also used canvas shades on many of their electric freight locomotives starting around 1950 or so. Once the bent-up wire rod is installed into the folded paper, the resulting shade can be angled out or folded flat as desired. The width of the drilled holes and the bent rod was established as 0.66 inch. We'll bend the corners of the rod now. Try to accurately match the drilled holes, and if it takes a few extra tries, that's okay. Don't let the bent angles protrude too far into the cab area. You need to make long strips of paper with a width of 3/10 of an inch. If you only have rulers with fractions, you need to buy a machinist scale with decimal markings from a good hardware store, made by General or some other known brand. Now the strips are cut. I made very small marks at both ends of the paper stock for the 3/10 of an inch cut width. Next is folding the lengthwise strip into a new width of 0.15 inch. I use a single-edged razor slipped under the paper to bend the paper without cutting it or fingers. This takes care and patience. Don't rush. Once the fold is started, it can be finished by just using your fingers. If you mangle one, just start another. Paper is inexpensive material. Test fit the paper to make sure it's the exact width of the bent rod. Once the paper is cut into smaller lengths that just barely fit the rod's dimensions, the paper can be bonded at the ends to retain the grip on the rod. The idea is to trap the rod but allow the paper to rotate freely by only gluing the outer edges of the folded paper. I pencil marked the 3 spots that will receive small dots of glue. Next, use a cotton swab to press the 2 paper halves together. Hold the thing down under a bit of pressure for a minute until the glue sets in. The folded paper should still be able to rotate with respect to the wire rod to allow setting the shades angled outward or folded flat. Be sure to check Rapido's website for this model and all the other items. And also, please visit our website, and thanks for watching.